how to build it. But that first step is you have to design a business model that is desirable.
When I initially moved back to Pensacola, I had a meeting with Lloyd. Lloyd invited me for breakfast, and I was telling him, man, I still have an idea for the entertainment industry. This is what I wanted to do. He was like, all right, I got to start up on the blocks. So I need you to start coming to start up on the blocks and get a little more information on how to work through the tech ecosystem and take your idea and we'll get you where you need to go. My company is called The Know, is an app that is streamlining business for the entertainment industry. Yeah, so if you're a musician, what you would do is pretty much jump on the platform, you'll create a profile, but the way we created the profile is pretty much a cleaner way. So now if they want more information about you, you'll connect your social media platforms, your streaming platforms, and that way they can go directly to it. What we also have included is your calendar. So pretty much you can set your days, you can set your price for your days and automate your booking. So initially talking to Lloyd, my idea was all here, it was there, it was over here, it was over there. It was like, all right, Quinn, I get it. You got a lot that you want to do, but we need you to bring it in just a little bit and then work on your pitch, your story, and how you're going to bring it full circle to get people to understand what you're trying to create.
Most of the programs here wasn't inclusive, and so we said we'll focus on helping founders of color. We also start at the beginning of the thing, at the idea stage, whereas a lot of the programs you see here locally, they start after you're up, and that's not very efficient unless if you don't have a lot of money, you can't recover from your mistakes. And the lean startup system, it actually helps you make mistakes faster before you spend a lot of money. You don't actually start building anything until you got customer buy-in.
There was a need for small businesses to bring brand awareness to their business. I see there's a lot of makers and bakers that they're making all of these goodies and these products, but they can't market it, they can't sell it at the same time, and there needs to be kind of like that middleman, that middle person to help bring economic growth to some of the small businesses in Pensacola. So Taste of Pensacola, I came up with that idea during the pandemic when I saw things at that time that Amazon couldn't fulfill. They didn't even have those products, but the local people in the community, they did. And so there was a ton of people coming out saying, hey, I make masks. I'm like, wow, this is amazing, all the local people here that are just as talented that can actually make those products. And so I wanted to kind of showcase who they were. So with Taste of Pensacola, our income streams, we have several of them. We have the corporate America, we do corporate gifting, just regular consumers, different Pensacola natives that don't live here that want to purchase our boxes, like a taste of weddings, distribution. So we also do bulk sales. So for a private airline, if they want some local snacks and goodies on their passenger flights, they will come to Taste of Pensacola and we will source their vendors here locally, and we'll give a small business owner an opportunity to have reoccurring monthly sales. I've always had a really big vision for Taste of Pensacola. I knew that it could go beyond just local. I know that maybe other communities could possibly use the same platform that I'm trying to build. And I always have these big visions, but I never know how to even get there. Where do I start? I know it's more than, there's a lot of technical things behind it. I know there's a lot of research, but that connection, I never had it until, thankfully, I met and was introduced to Startups on the Blocks and was able to just learn more about how to grow it in terms of data. Things I just never thought about, framework, words like traction. There's a lot of things that I just did not know about and language that I need to know in order to get funding for my business. There's just a lot that I didn't know.
I would go to the stores and look online. They didn't have a wide variety of natural hair products about 8 years ago. And the ones that they did have, the ingredients, it would say that they were all natural. And when I would research the ingredients, a lot of the ingredients were not natural. I make everything, my shampoo, conditioner, I have an oil that I make, and I have 2 different separate butters. Like I had some people who were completely bald and grew their hair. It's about giving women their confidence back in their hair. I have this salon and then I have a second salon, and I have my products in about 5 beauty supply stores. So I need a manufacturer to keep up with the demand at this point. Startup on the Blocks has helped my business grow, send me to different people. I'm able to do different pitch competitions to apply for grants in the community for small businesses. Lloyd's a really good person to connect with. He has a lot of resources here in the community that can help small businesses grow. If you have a product out there and you're trying to go big time, he's the person that you would want to meet with.
So it's really important to have some type of support because 9 times out of 10, most founders start out on their own. And to have somebody that has an idea of how the ecosystem works and is able to tap into other resources and bring back to the community, and that pretty much has encountered some of the roadblocks or going through the same roadblocks that we're currently going through and understands where you're at, your culture and how you respond to things, is a big help because you don't really have too many people that have access to what we have access to here in the community. And a lot of people believe that you have to leave and go to bigger cities to do the things that we're doing here. But I mean, it's one thing to have exposure, but you have to actually know it's here in the community in order to take advantage of the resources. So I get approached and I talk to friends all the time that wants to either start an idea or hear that I'm actually doing the app and wants to know more information about how are you doing it or what's the process, what's the path. I'm like, man, we have somebody here, Startup on the Blocks, Lloyd Richard. And Lloyd is here, he's a great resource to the community and to founders that's trying to learn the ecosystem. So join Startup on the Blocks.
Welcome, welcome everyone. How's everybody? We're here for our Thursday evening session, and this is our best practice session. We're still waiting on our guests, but we'll proceed right along. I'm going to share my screen here and give some shout outs to our sponsors. So let me get that going here. Right. Yes, so we're excited. We got a lot of things going on, but we couldn't do it without the support of our sponsors. We want to announce a new partner / sponsor, and that's the Blacks in Technology Foundation. And so they're going to be participating in our programs are lean stack training, where you learn how to design a business model and learn the best practices for building a startup. And so they're also going to be a part of an accelerator program as well. And I see Rosala has came, so I'm going to bring her to the screen. Hello there, young lady. How are you?
Good. How are you? Sorry about the delay.
No problem.
I shockingly had some computer issues. Like I was trying to figure out how to. I don't use SteamYard as much, so I appreciate everyone's patience.
Oh, no, we're just getting started, so you're good. But it looks like your system is working just fine, so that's great.
Awesome. Yeah, it is now. Amazing.
Yes. Well, welcome to Startup on the Blocks. We're spending a couple of minutes here talking about our sponsors and giving them thanks for what they're doing. So have you heard of the Blacks in Technology organization?
I have not. I have been trying to get more involved with Black Tech. You know, I did Black is Tech, and next thing I want to do hopefully is join Afro Tech. But yeah, I'd love to learn more about Black in Technology Foundation.
Yeah. So it's all about getting people into technology,
Yes.
recruiting more Black people into technology. Mm-hmm. So I don't think you could get any better than that. And it's they have both the organization and they have the nonprofit foundation. Mm-hmm. And so they do a lot of fundraising and train. But the best way I can describe it is that you can join for free, and so that's the good thing. And then I think just last week they announced the Udacity nano degrees, where there are like 3 nano degrees, and you can apply to get a free scholarship for one of those nano.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, so they have a lot of training opportunities like that, and so we partner with them to create the BIT Startup Founder program, and so we're going to be working with BIT members, and it's free to be a BIT member, so you can take advantage of some of the opportunities there. So isn't that a neat deal?
Yep, it's amazing. And I think one thing is with the tech world, the startup world is like, you don't have to necessarily do the software portion. or the dev portion. You can get
Yeah,
into tech in so many different avenues.
yeah,
So I think there's more opportunities than most people think to get involved in tech and, create an amazing career.
yes. And I'm definitely glad you said that, because like when you think about startups and you think about them trying to build new products and services, so they need project managers, they need social media people, they need data analysis people,
Hmm.
they need software developers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so they need UX, UI design type
Hmm.
people, and they need salespeople.
That's right. I mean, and that's actually how I got started in tech. I was doing business development sales.
Okay,
And then while I was good at it, I didn't love it. And then eventually I discovered marketing, and that's where I found my sweet spot. And essentially that led me down the path of creating my startup.
okay,
And they always say it's not about necessarily creating something new, it's about solving a problem.
that's
Um,
exactly right.
and oftentimes the problem is right in front of your face, and you're kind of shocked, like, how come no one else has done this? And there's your opportunity right there.
That's exactly right, and so that's why we're excited about the Blacks in Technology Foundation. We've found over the last few years, 2.5 years or so, that we've been doing this program, that there are a lot of founders across the country, and they have broken business models, and
Hmm.
their business doesn't grow like they want it to, and they end up running out of money before they get to a product market fit. And so we thought it would be nice, to partner with them and make sure, this training is available
Yeah,
to a lot more founders and create a more equitable situation.
that's awesome.
Yeah. And so other than the Bit Foundation, Florida Power and Light, here in Florida, they're supporters of our program, and the Startup Sciences we partner with them for some the startup science training, and I know you're familiar with that. Uh,
Yep.
yeah, and so so how when you and I were in the pre-accelerator program, we were using their portal. And so
Yeah.
now the Kukua Institute has its own portal.
Oh wow. I love
So,
it.
yeah, so that's happening. And they just did a update release today. And so it's actually looking really good. And I'll show that a little later on. Uh, let me just show it now since we're talking about it. I guess that's
Absolutely.
a better idea. Yeah.
Oh,
So
that looks great.
like this is just new as of today. So they have these collections of classes that they have up here, and you remember the pre-accelerator program, that was a collection of the classes.
Yep.
Yeah, and so I think it's about 24 classes, and it takes you all the way from the vision or the idea stage to the exit. And
Yep.
so I guess do a little quick introduction on yourself and tell why you took the pre-accelerator program
Yeah.
through Startup Science here.
Yeah, absolutely. So give a quick little short version, accelerated version of my background, and then happy to dive into any spots, and I'll talk about, why I'm wanting to join an accelerator. So after college, I did the whole college thing, and while I originally studied exercise science and wanted to go become a PT, but I was like, I'm not taking out $200,000 to go to school again. I have enough debt. So I was like, I decided to just try to make money, and I got into sales. Some of you guys might know this company. I worked at CarMax selling used cars.
Okay.
And I say that was one of the best experiences I've ever had, because it was a corporate company, very cleanly run. And I learned a lot of sales strategies that I think taught me a lot. And then life and love took me across the world to Germany. I moved to Germany, lived in Berlin for about 3 years, and that's where I essentially got involved with startups, my first
Oh, okay.
involvement in startups, and did business development sales. And like I said, I was very good at it. Eventually, uh, made our way back to America. Worked at ZipRecruiter. I was the 33rd hire of ZipRecruiter, which was a fantastic experience being
Oh, you
in such
said, say that again. You said a 35th,
33rd hire.
33rd
Yeah,
hire. So
yeah.
that's pretty significant. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really, at the time, and it's kind of a little upsetting. I didn't think about it, but they didn't give salespeople equity or
Oh no.
employ. Yeah, everyone else got it, but the salespeople, because they're like, you're making too much money. Back then I was like, oh, I guess, young, yeah, I'm like, mid 20s. I'm like, I guess so. But now that I was like, well, I was making that much, So, you don't know what you don't know. But, I
Right.
worked at ZipRecruiter, again, another excellent startup company to work at. Eventually I was like, okay, I want to do marketing because I was doing sales. Well, I was good at it. So I taught myself marketing, started my own e-commerce store, bootstrapped it to 30,000 month-over-month revenue. Eventually, I exited that. That was acquired, and I just started working with startups one-on-one as a marketing and growth consultant. My superpower is performance marketing. Getting people. Everyone says that if they build it, they will come. That isn't
Yeah.
necessarily true. If they
Mhm.
build it and you have someone like me on your team, then they will come. That's how I say it. It's
Gotcha.
right.
That's neat.
So, and then I eventually got involved with a TechStars backed company, a fintech company with savings, and moved and it started a sports tech startup. So my background coming full circle with having my exercise science degree, helped co-found a sports tech startup. Was there for about two and a half years. About we got backed by TechStars again, Under Armour, and yeah, it was such an amazing experience. And I decided it was time for me to actually do something on my own and build out something that I felt a lot of businesses, brands need, and that was something around essentially combining the worlds of affiliate marketing and influencer marketing, and that's AND, which is All Ambassador Network, which is allowing people, brands, the ability to recruit ambassadors,
Okay.
performance-based ambassadors to their affiliate programs. And on the flip side, it allows ambassadors to look up brands to join and then promote and use and find and promote offers that fit their audience. So it's a two-sided marketplace where people find each other, and either brands can say, hey, we have this product, I think you'd be a great fit, promote it. And
Yeah.
ambassadors, yeah.
So like, so did you already have some experience or connections with brands, um, or you just realized that it was a problem that brands have?
So I would say, having worked, so it's a combination of working with all the companies that I worked with, over probably 30 different startups and SMBs. And the number one problem, or even just, I don't want to say issue, but yeah, the number one problem we're facing is like people want to grow resourcefully with a low budget. They want user generated content as well as engagement. And then they have a shoestring budget, right? And so the question is, how do you get this without having to spend any more money? And a lot of times people go with influencers, and influencers are great. However, it's not usually scalable or even like achievable by a small company. So what I discovered was like, okay, well, affiliate marketing. So affiliate marketing works very well because it's performance based. So you recruit an affiliate, and but affiliates are also like kind of finicky because they only go where the conversions are. So the medium ground is an ambassador. So someone who sits in the middle, they get paid a little bit for their time and their effort, but then they also get paid a bonus for their performance. So
Okay.
it's like that medium ground of like, hey, I get something, but I also get more if I do a great job and I refer people. So it's an ambassador.
Okay. So like, so it's, did I hear you say, I may have missed it, but did you have experience as affiliate?
Yeah, I was an affiliate. Yes, sorry, I skipped that part. So so the growth marketing I've done with a lot of companies, I would say growth. I say growth, and that oftentimes is across the board everything. So that includes affiliate manager. So
Hmm.
recruiting affiliates, even influencer manager, recruiting influencers. And the biggest problem with recruiting influencers and affiliates and ambassadors is, how do you do that? How do you find out the people, that want to promote something? And a lot of
Hmm.
times it's just DMing them, messaging them, cold emailing them. And for me, I already have a nice list. I already have a nice network of ambassadors, of people who say, hey, they raise their hand and say, I'm an affiliate. I want to be this. I want to be that. But the question is now getting and finding those businesses, which has proven to not currently, knock on wood, be too hard. Because the question I ask businesses is, hey, I have ambassadors. I want to promote your product. Are you interested? And most people don't say anything other than yes, right? Especially when you say it's performance based.
Okay. Yeah. So like, I have a question back on something you said earlier. So you were talking about all the companies, and they were mostly startups that you had worked for, right? So, but what stage was those companies at?
Good question. I would say I like to say 0 to 1. So they're usually in the infancy. They have the product, but they don't really have the customers, or they do have the customers. They just don't know how to scale. Maybe they got it organically, word of mouth. They're just getting started with a small budget. They're people who have something to sell. So we're probably at the pre-revenue stage, but they have an MVP.
Okay, so let's look at. I'm gonna find a chart here. So they, if you remember seeing this lean stack roadmap thing here, so it's somewhere in here you actually have an MVP, and you're starting to sell in this blue area. And so you're saying like companies like ZipRecruiter and some of the other ones you were involved in were in this stage when they recruited you?
Oh, so ZipRecruiters are different. ZipRecruiters was my sales experience. That's when
Okay.
I did sales. So like
Okay.
I would say, let's go back to the Techstars
Okay.
company that I worked at. They had a MVP, which was a minimum viable product. It wasn't
Yeah.
essentially what it was. It was like a web-based savings app, and they had, for them, maybe for a lot of people, this may feel like a lot, but for them, they felt like they were still small. They had about 40,000 users, and they wanted to scale. So that's when I came on board. Yeah.
So so that sounds almost like they were at a product market fit.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely, you're definitely at a position where you're discovering product market fit. You have an MVP, or you have the actual final version of the product. You have sales. You have some sales.
Yeah.
Like
Gotcha.
you're not like in the ideation phase. You're definitely with a couple sales underneath your belt.
Yeah, because like in order to hire somebody, you got to have raised some amount of money.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah. So you would say most of the startups you were involved with, when they brought you on, they were in this phase here.
Yeah, I would say definitely, right? Definitely in the pink phase, product market fit. Even probably a little bit closer to right at the end of the solution customer fit phase.
Yeah, gotcha.
Right at the end of that. Yeah. Some companies even brought me in like as they're finishing up their MVP, like to build out the go-to-market plan.
Okay.
And test that.
Okay. Yeah. And so you said you decided to kind of like go out on your own. So that backs you up here to this idea stage.
Yeah. So I would say I'm right in the phase. So ideation phase, I'm in the problem solution. Yeah, I'm definitely, because I actually just started this like in October. So so I'm in the problem solution, fit 3 months,
And that's why I was asking you before is what made you, how did you even hear about the pre-accelerator program?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm in a founders group with one of one of the founders of the Boss Startup Science. His name is Martin. And he posted it in the group, and I was like, why not? And at the time, to kind of back up a little bit, when I originally had the idea, it was around athletes. I wanted
Okay.
to do athlete ambassadors.
Okay.
Um, and after doing some research and more, you know, I guess ideation interviews, and I actually ran some ads to recruit ambassadors. I found that most of them were not student athletes. They were like people who were either, they would consider themselves fitness enthusiasts,
Okay.
or just people who just wanted to, who had a small following and just wanted to promote something they believed in.
Yes. And so I want to remind the audience you're welcome to ask questions at any time. So and how do you pronounce your first name? Because I don't know.
Rosala.
Rizala. And okay, so the Rizala, has a great marketing background, and she's worked with a lot of startups. And then so we have some founders in the audience that are, the kind of, in that orange, phase, and some may be a little bit further or
Mm.
along. And so just want to make sure they realize who you are, and this is a good opportunity for to kind of ask questions. Yeah.
So AND stands for All Ambassador Network. And what I'm building is a ambassador network that allows brands to connect with ambassadors. Essentially, an ambassador is someone who wants to promote someone else's brand. This could be considered an influencer. And then on the flip side, it allows ambassadors to look up brands, to, like, if you essentially have a small audience and you want to promote something to your audience, you can find brands on that, on our network. So right now, a lot of businesses who do influencer marketing oftentimes come into the trouble of, hey, this is out of their budget, it's overpriced. You want an influencer, it can cost you 5 to 10, 20 grand, right? So the All Ambassador Network is predominantly, the ambassadors are predominantly micro and nano ambassadors, so people who have less than 10,000 followers, who are interested in promoting small and upcoming startups and brands.
Okay. Gotcha. And so you found out about so had you went to any startup training before you got into the Startup Science Pre-Accelerator program?
Yeah, I actually was a part of a Techstars, which is accelerated itself twice.
Okay,
Yeah,
twice. Okay, now so
yeah,
let's back up a little bit.
yeah,
So you've been in two Tech Stars accelerators,
yeah.
and so what was your role in each one of those?
Both growth marketing. Um, with the most recent one, I was a co-founder. So it was definitely a lot more. I was hands-on, got to work with the team. I also helped fundraise as well. So there was definitely a so for Anne, I definitely want to do another accelerator,
Hmm.
because there is a power in accelerators. For those of you who are thinking about joining an accelerator, it's really, one, you, outside of the funding, you will get that additional support in building your business, as well as connection to strategic partners as well as investors. So there's nothing
Yeah.
like a warm investor who's interested in, like, in promoting, in supporting founders. So, like, if you're thinking about joining an accelerator, it's definitely something to consider.
So like in an accelerator program like Techstars, could you kind of describe the like the day-to-day routine of
Mm.
the accelerator program?
So all accelerators are different.
Yes.
So Techstars was definitely, like, I would say, like, I don't know if I'm going to do Techstars again because I already have that network.
Yeah.
I'm actually a mentor now, so I'm
Okay.
working with a couple startups in Techstars. But it's for Techstars, you're there. They want you there in their office,
Okay.
almost on a, like, a working day basis, and you're
Okay.
going to be First month, I think it's product market fit. Second month, you're gonna do some investing stuff. Third month, you're just practicing for demo day, which is like pitching and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You could be mixing it up a little bit, but it's really hands-on. So you're going to be like working with mentors. You have like 2 to 3 mentors that you're constantly working with, and just kind of like it's literally an accelerator. You're like kind of sprinting. You're really trying to get things done.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the goal is to really figure out how how your product fits in the market. So Quinn
Yeah.
asks, have you started testing and evaluating your idea?
Before you answer that question, yes, I want to make sure we get to the bottom of this. So, like, would you say in those two Techstars accelerated things you went through, would you say you were actually working on your company? Because a lot of people think a lot of these programs that you're wasting time going to them. But all the ones I've been in, I've worked on my company.
Yeah. I always say you have to curate your own experience.
Mm-hmm.
So some people will feel like it's a waste of time. I
Mm-hmm.
did not.
Yeah.
I did not. I met some pretty amazing people, have some pretty amazing leads. Uh, to lead me to Quinn's answer, have you started testing and validating your idea? Yes, I have. Like, I already started running. Like, for me, like, people ask, in growth marketing, people ask, when should you start running ads? As soon as you have the idea, build a wait list. So I already have a wait list of ambassadors. I actually had to shut that down because I was getting too many ambassadors, but I didn't have the business side yet. So it's a two-sided marketplace. So you have to really, really build at the same time. So I have wait lists of ambassadors. I have wait lists of businesses. Actually, the fun part is the businesses are kind of like, when is this going to be ready? Which I'm absolutely excited about. Like, people are like, when is this going to be ready? Because I'm ready for this. So yeah, absolutely. Testing and validating. I'm doing it. And as a marketer, we're constantly pivoting. So I'm going to be always testing ideas and campaigns and stuff like that. But yeah, and Lloyd, to go back up a little bit, like, yes, it's really all about curating your own experience. I really feel like um, I've grown so much from Techstars, even personal growth as well.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I definitely think like everything's about the mindset, and so like and most people. Well, I won't say most people, but my experience in some of the accelerators, they spend a lot of time with the founders trying to get them in the right mindset because they keep making all these excuses. Some of them may come in to get the money, you know, but they don't want to be mentored or
Mm,
whatever, to kind of move forward.
yeah.
Yeah, and so that's kind of what I see sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Sometimes there's a good amount, a good chunk of it is breaking the ego, right?
yeah.
Making sure, hey, like, everyone has, and even just building that confidence. But yeah, I would say, like, if would I rank Techstars as the end all be all accelerator? No, not really. There's, depending on who you are, where you live, and maybe even how much money you want, there's
Hmm.
probably different ones out there you should consider.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Awesome. Oh, Quinn, great question. So, are you building your product, or do you have a CTO? So, I actually am in the current position of onboarding a CTO. I was planning on being a solo founder because I am creating a marketplace, which there's a lot of code out there already created, no code, low code. It's not
Hmm.
necessarily. So I am onboarding a CTO, and the reason being is because my community will also have its own in-house products, which will be like owned and operated products that are essentially owned by us, which will allow us to. So, for example, one of our products that we're working on is a kind of like a mindfulness app, like a simple mindfulness app. So something that people can share, make a simple commission from, and that we own and operate, allowing us to earn more commission as the network owner. So I will have a CTO, but I don't want to necessarily say like everyone needs one. In the beginning, I wasn't planning to do one, but for the route I'm going now, I definitely wanted one.
Mhm. Yeah. So you were thinking that you potentially could have built your MVP with
Mm,
a low code, no code thing.
yeah. Well, actually, it will be built. Like the MVPs are currently being built. I mean, I think that's the best way to do it. Even with like a CTO, it's like you should actually build it with a no code, low code, or whatever you need, like Airtable, whatever it is, you know. Um, and then once you kind of get that feedback, then you build out the native version. So yeah, I mean, like it's definitely. I think it's one of these things where you kind of have to like do some self reflection of what you really want long term.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I mean, it's something where I was kind of like, do I want to be a solo or do I want to have someone, potentially that can help me?
Hmm.
Sabrina, so the no code I would recommend if you're considering one is Bubble. I like Bubble. It's a good solid one. A lot of people are using it, and there's Adaldo. I think that's for apps. I've used that. It's not that great. I would just stick with Bubble for sure.
Yeah.
Bubble.io.
I had office hours with the startup company. I can't remember the name of it. I'm trying to think out loud here. But anyway, they had just raised $12 million, and their front end was Bubble. And yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah. He said
That's what
that
you want
that's
to
just
hear.
don't care as long as you're doing something, getting customers.
Yeah. No, seriously, that's kind of what like I think. You never really know what's going through a head of an angel or VC or an accelerator. I've seen people come in with just the idea for an and get accepted in an accelerator. So like you never really know, but I feel like if you can just get as much traction as you can, if that even means doing a bubble. I personally try not to build anything because I always break things. So I try to outsource that. Like I just find someone on Upwork or wherever and have them build it. And there's literally a lot of bubble developers out there.
Yeah, and if you let us kind of like pause for a
Hmm.
minute, and I kind of want to do. Uh, let's see if I can find it here. Find my screen that I have it on. Got so many screens. I think this is the one. Yeah. So like you said, like you suggested, Bubble. And I'm gonna see, can I get to this link? So we got in startup science, and we never did finish looking at that portal, but we'll get back to it.
Hmm.
But the so they have a list of opportunities in there, and I'm not sure if Bubble's in there or not. And so what I wanted to remind the founders out there, we created this database app, and we kind of put our kind of what do you call that? A one-on-one playbook.
Mm.
These are the things you should do, so you can read those. But the so over here we have the menu of the startups, and I see there's a Microsoft one up top, but I'm gonna see, can I find this the one that actually, so Microsoft for startups. And so and I keep telling people, you have to learn how to do this. But believe it or not, I can't remember. I think you get like $3,000 worth of bubble credits
Mm.
if you join the startup program.
Nice.
And they don't care which stage you're at.
That's amazing.
And you get a free paid LinkedIn account. You get access to OpenAI, to GPT-3.
Wow.
And they keep adding and adding. And so why wouldn't you join a program like this that gives you
Mm.
all that stuff for free?
Yep.
Yeah. And so
Absolutely.
yeah, that's why we have the opportunity database, so people can kind of find the things to kind of move them actually forward. And I think maybe that that I'm not. Let's see. I was trying to. Okay, here it is right here. So this is the link that kind of shows it. So you get some OpenAI credits. Uh,
Oh.
and you get $3,000 worth of bubble credits. And I'm not sure what this one is, not sure what that one is, but I don't know if people realize the significance of this paid LinkedIn account.
Yeah.
So you get a paid LinkedIn account, and you can do so much prospecting on that. It's like unbelievable. And
Oh
so,
yeah.
yeah. So, and they just keep adding.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and that's what that's why we tell everybody, you learn the best practices. So when you fill out this application, you can say all the right things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I just want to make sure people understand what we're trying to do. And so like this opportunity database that, it's to help, people get connected to the different things. And so let's see what we got over here. So we've been pushing the Synapse Summits, and it's in Tampa, Florida, and it's like a startup showcase.
Oh, nice.
Type deal. But we partner with them, and you get a booth for like $250, whereas they normally cost like a couple thousand. But most startup showcases I've been in, you don't have to pay anything. You just have to apply, and if you get accepted, you get a free booth.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what the deal is. But what's interesting, this thing right here, and I haven't updated yet. So they just came up with this particular pitch competition at the Synapse, and it's a new pitch competition, and it's $100,000.
Oh wow.
And so and I didn't even see the announcement on that. So look, they already upped it to 150,000, and you
That's
got it
awesome.
like February 7th to apply.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? Isn't it crazy? And
That's
they got
crazy.
all the different phases. And I've been trying to tell people, we offer this training, this business model design training, and if you really do it and go in there and do it, you will learn how to communicate what you're doing correctly.
Absolutely.
And we have over 400 things in this database, and we're still continuously adding more. And it's just a drop in the bucket for what folks can actually get.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
amazing. That's awesome.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so one of the things that are in this database is, and we're starting to using it. So you talk about no code. So we're for our back office stuff, we're using Coda, and so it's actually a no code tool as well. But you can actually build, if I spell it right. Let's see if we can find it. Yeah. So Coda.
Are you sharing your screen, Lloyd?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was wondering, I was like, wait, am I supposed to see? There we go.
Yeah, well, I apologize, everyone. I thought I was actually sharing my screen. I had to check it down. But I was, this is what I was talking about, was the $150,000 pitch competition.
Okay.
So, yeah, and then and when I was talking about the Microsoft thing, so when you get in the program, these are all the things you get for being a member of the program.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I apologize there. I'm glad.
Oh no, I wasn't sure myself. But that looks amazing.
Yeah, and what I was trying to show here, they don't care which stage you're at. So yeah, and so that's what the startup world and startup ecosystem does for you. It gives you all these things, and plus also you like these accelerator programs that give you the training and some most time funding as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what that's all about. But what I was trying to communicate is actually based on you actually going through this life cycle here. Yeah, and so when you're filling out those applications, the things you learn here about your business model, then that's what you use to kind of fill out the applications.
Yeah.
and let's see here, let's see if I can find this here. So let's go back to our startup science one, and it's so how would you describe startup science based on your participating in the pre-accelerator program?
I feel like it gives you a lot of clarity. Um,
Okay. Um, so their roadmap is here, where you kind of start off with a vision, and you go all the way to exit. But what their main thing is that they're trying to make sure you know how to apply for an accelerator, you know how to communicate with investors, and that's what I like about what they have. Yeah. These roadmaps are basically same, but they just so you're coming at your startup from a different perspective.
so sorry about that. Had to change my headphones. So I would say like I was saying, it gives you clarity,
Mm-hmm.
and it also gives you the ability to kind of speak more confidently about what you're doing. Like I've had to still iterate since ending startup science. Like I had to still kind of pivot a couple times based on that's why I always say if you can swing it, even if it's $5 a day or even $1 a day, do some type of advertising to your wait list of your startup, because you're going to get real people and real feedback.
Okay.
And that's when I was like, okay, even though I had everything built out with startup science and it was, in my opinion, very clear, people were kind of like, well, that's not what I'm looking for, at least on the ambassador side. On the business side, that was clear, but I needed to work on how do I present it, and that was given to me by the businesses themselves. And so it's really about really kind of listening. Like I oftentimes say the best copy, the best marketing, sales, sayings oftentimes come from the customer themselves.
Gotcha. So what I want to, I'm listening to what you're saying, and so what a lot of things you just said, that's what you learn and hear.
Yep.
Yeah, and the lean stack thing. So you get your mindset right with the foundation, just understanding what the founders, it's all the basic ideas and stuff, and then you design a scalable business model.
Yep.
And that's what the training allows you to do. Now, when you move over here to this demand generation validation framework, you're trying to get this problem solution fit. So you're trying to make sure you understand the problem before you design a solution.
Yep.
So, and the way we accomplish what you just said by getting the feedback from the customers in this platform, it actually has a traction roadmap where you can exercise your business model to make sure it's viable and that you can get to where you want to get.
Yeah.
And then to get that feedback from your potential customers, you do the customer forces canvas, and Ash said, if you know what you're doing, Ash, you can actually get away with doing as small as 10 customer forces maps. If you learn what you're doing, and then when you collect those 10, then you can actually look at those things and see what's actually common, and then you can actually design your solution around that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And your MVP around that. And so all these tools are actually in the Lean Stack program. And so one of the new tools that are in there is that if you record your interview with the potential customer, you can actually upload that to the platform, and it will actually use AI to get a sentiment analysis from the conversation.
Whoa.
And so
Whoa.
I don't know if any of the folks in the previous cohorts has noticed that or actually take advantage of that particular tool, and they keep updating things and adding things, so it's pretty fantastic.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. I didn't even know that myself, so now I might have to consider that.
Well, yeah, we'll get you hooked up in there.
I
And
appreciate it.
yeah, yeah, and that's what we basically found, that all these different accelerators, and I've been in a lot of them, and that they actually a lot of them don't focus on the basics. They assume you already know the basics.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Yeah.
very true.
Yeah.
It's very true. I still like it is very interesting. So I think the pre-accelerator was also important to understand, even just like terminology too.
Yeah.
You know, there were certain words that like they were saying at the pre-accelerator that after doing like 2 accelerators, I was like, I haven't heard that. You know,
Yeah.
so
I hope people are hearing what you were saying. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's really important to do. I would say I still did it. Like I said, like even though I already did 2 tech stars, I still did it through like that was like one thing I finished. I was like, I'm gonna finish this. And I finished it. And it took like 2 weeks, right? 2.5.
Yeah, 2 weeks, and it was like 3 1-hour sessions.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It was very good actually.
And then homework, working on your company and everything. So Quinn, I guess, is asking a question there.
Yeah, I mean, I think Quinn, absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. You just have to continue and never stop talking to customers. I think the saying is like one customer complaint is kind of like on behalf of like at least 10 to 20. So like if someone is complaining, imagine there could be 10 to 20 people who feel the same way. So you're absolutely right, Quinn. Just you have to continue to talk to your customers.
That's right. So you were talking about the terminology and stuff, and so like this particular thing is about your market size.
Yeah.
Do you remember some of the terminology that
TAM, SOM, SAM.
Yeah, understanding your market, the personas of your buyers. So do you remember the ideal acquirer profile?
Yeah, I thought that was very interesting because like when we did the ecosystem research, then you kind of automatically, in a sense, figure out who could even be your ideal customer profile, acquirer profile through that. So, yeah.
And so, in my opinion, and what I was told, and what I've seen is this particular catalog of courses, you will understand how to communicate with investors. But what's also interesting is that as you take each one of these lessons, you're putting the inputting information in there, and so it's actually creating your application to get in an accelerator program.
Yeah, I would say it did help with like copying and pasting. So.
Yeah. So being able to kind of communicate, and then so a common question you get when you're pitching, or what's your exit strategy to investors, because that's how they when they get paid.
Yeah. Or IPO, I think another one, or I think when there's IPO is one. If so it's either one, I think. But it's interesting because I've always heard people kind of like, unless the investor kind of talks about the acquisition, then you don't bring it up.
Gotcha.
And that's something that we were like, okay, like don't bring it up unless somebody talks about it, which is I agree. I would agree with that.
So in the newsletter that we sent out, we put a link in there, and a few people have requested access to the portal, and so we'll the reason why we're spending a little time on it, because I don't think people, I want to make sure people understand the value of the training that's in here. And you can actually training, you can do it, listen to the videos or look at the videos, or you can listen to the audio, or you can just read, you can have several different ways that you can actually do it. So Sabrina has another question.
Oh yeah. So, one thing I learned about when it comes to tech, you can always plan for something, but it sometimes either it doesn't always work out the way it's planned. But we're looking at the MVP to get done probably end of February. So at least because we're gonna build the bare bones, like literally like something super simple. And probably end of February, mid March. So we like to give ourselves a nice little buffer just in case. So that's the goal. To be able to have the MVP ready and up and running by then.
Yeah. So do you typically put a kind of a timeline, a roadmap, a milestone chart in your pitch deck? Like
I
what?
I actually did have a timeline, but I actually removed it just because like I don't know. I put like what I did was I put like where you ask use of funds, I put goals in there.
Okay.
Here's the use of funds, here's what we plan to do with it, here's the goals that we plan to hit with it.
Yeah. And so like so the way, for the audience, the way I would, think about that. So when you're pitching and you're communicating to people that want to help you, um, they need to know where you are on this timeline and what's your next thing that you're trying to accomplish.
Yep.
And what's beautiful is when you see somebody here at an idea stage, and 7 months later, you see them with the MVP. And then that's what gives you credibility, because people know how you're progressing along this timeline. And so we try to communicate that it doesn't matter where you are on this curve, that as long as people know where you are and where you're trying to get to. So like was it last week? We had the founder and CEO, co-founder and CEO of Meter Feeder. And so he's definitely past the product market fit, but he's still trying to get to the next step. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so as long as people know where you are, then they know how they can help you.
Absolutely.
And so you always have to communicate, be able to communicate that. I thought I saw a question here.
That's a great question, and that's actually Sabrina asked, how do you keep customers on your waitlist engaged and excited as you're building? So, and that's actually why I had to slow down, was because I was getting within like probably less than a week, I got like 200 ambassadors signed up.
Wow.
So I was kind of like, okay, I'm gonna calm down a little bit. So, and so that's why I was saying, like, in a way, you want to build a wait list, but do it slowly. And the way I'm engaging is kind of like, to be fair, I also started in December, so it's not that much time that has passed. Mm-hmm. So I send out at least an email every other week. You don't want to bombard them because I really have nothing to sell. So it's really just like question emails, like, hey, any ambassador programs that you've worked with in the past. So I ask a lot of engagement questions. Like I ask them questions so that way I can reply back to them to create this one-on-one relationship. It's not that, not that many people are replying. I'm getting like every time I send an email, I get like maybe like 7 to 10 replies. I'm just looking for the open rate to stay, healthy. Mm-hmm. And I also send updates on like what's happening in the influencer world or in the affiliate world. Like, hey, this is what's happening in the affiliate world, and this is how we're, because like the company I'm creating sits in between affiliate marketing and influencer marketing. So I send like little updates and stuff like that. I also created some videos around what is affiliate marketing, what is influencer marketing, what is an, I asked them, how do you understand what an is? I asked them questions about like, how would you explain an to your friends or family and stuff like that. One thing that I'm doing, and I asked actually the community about this, is like I'm trying to create a way to create co-ownership of AND. So when people refer other ambassadors or businesses, and businesses refer ambassadors or businesses, I'm trying to create a way for them to get equity into the business. Some people consider this some kind of a Web3 play where it's like, DAO, which is like, what's the word? Is it digitally autonomous organizations?
Okay.
Yeah, but that's a Web3 play. So it's not Web3, but it's more kind of like REI's co-op in a sense. Where kind of employee customers are kind of like have some type of small, very tiny ownership, micro nano ownership into the company. So that's what I'm working on right now with Anne, to try to keep people like, hey, what do you guys think about co-ownership? Do you want to be an owner of Anne? And also keeps people invested.
Wow. Okay. So you were talking about people on your platform, or were you talking about raising money? I sort
Good question. It's a little bit like confusing. I can see why it's confusing because it's very new what this is. It's a way, instead of it's a way to, and I'm happy to like send this by email, because actually like there's a company I'm using to help facilitate this, but it's a way to essentially reward people for referring other people to the company. So instead of rewarding ambassadors from referring ambassadors with money, I can say I'll reward you with essentially like maybe rewards and or points, and that point is essentially equivalent to ownership into Anne. It won't be a lot, like it'll be like probably like 1% of or 2% of the company will go towards
Yeah, I totally get that. So it'll be, ownership will be small, but at least as the company grows, that the value of that ownership
absolutely
grows. So that's pretty creative. Strategy there.
Yeah, I'm trying to see how that. I'm gonna test that out. Marketers are constantly testing, so I'm gonna test that out, see how that goes. But yeah, I think to go back to the original question, how do you keep people engaged on the wait list? Is just like sending things. Just send them a message, let them know who you are. I would keep it very informal, very personal.
Yes, and so this two-sided marketplace thing is challenging. So let's kind of break it down a little bit. So how do you make money with it? Where are the payments and the fees, and how do you make money with it?
So traditionally, with like an affiliate network, the affiliate platform takes a fee.
Yes.
So it's that setup. So affiliate network fee, which is anywhere between 2 to 5%. On the business side. So we don't take money from the affiliates. So essentially, the one part of the business, essentially, think of it as, we're taking that monetization plan from the affiliate side and we're putting it into Anne, which is ambassadors. And then we'll also take a fee from businesses that want us to help them build out their ambassador program, which is a business that comes and says, hey, I don't have an affiliate manager. I don't have someone to manage this. Instead of hiring an employee to become an affiliate manager, we'll hire you. So that's how we're going to monetize on that side. It's like, we'll have a managed service and then like a self-serve model where people can sign up, find affiliates, and we'll just take a fee whenever there's a commission.
Yeah. So is that a recurring revenue approach that you just said?
From both sides, yeah. So from the managed service, as long as they don't cancel, yeah. Absolutely.
Is that a fixed fee or a percentage?
So from the network fees, it's going to be a fixed fee.
Okay.
From the managed service, it's going to be like a fixed service fee. Like it just depends on what the size of the company, how many ambassadors we're managing for them.
Yeah. But when you're pitching, the judges and the investors, well, I say pitching. It could be pitching when you're pitching in writing, or when you're pitching verbally, or they're gonna want to know how how what is the recurring revenue model, so based on what you've been saying so far, I don't, I'm trying to figure out, is there a monthly fee,
Mhm. Oh
recurring
yeah,
monthly fee?
correct.
Yeah.
To be on the platform, businesses need to pay a subscription fee.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is kind of when I hear pitches sometimes, when you're pitching your revenue model and how you make money, because that's all anybody want to know is how you make money. So you got to be clear on that part.
Mm,
Yeah. So it's kind of what my point is, and so if you can be clear on how you make money in that recurring revenue, you solved half of your problem.
absolutely.
Even though your revenue model seems to be a lot of parts, you still can highlight the ways of the recurring revenue.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, definitely, it's going to be, it's kind of a hit or miss, like with most startups. Like people either get it or they don't. A lot of
yes,
times, investors don't get it because they don't know marketing and growth.
right. That's
Um,
right.
so, if,
And that's
yeah,
why you have to say in short, what they're trying to hear is, you see, because it's all about predicting the revenue. And
yeah,
so when you see this curve here, this curve is based on a 10x growth model.
yeah,
And so they when you're talking or pitching, or just like we having a conversation now, you 1, 2, 3 sentences at the mic, you got to clearly say how you make money, because
hmm
that's kind of what that deal is right there.
absolutely. And yeah, so I'd love to like answer any last minute questions before we wrap up. Anyone? I think this was such a great opportunity, Lloyd. Thank you so much for this.
Yeah, yeah, that okay. Yeah, and so any takeaways you want to leave the audience before you hop off here?
Gosh, thank you for the opportunity. I think the biggest thing is like, having done sales, I think, you get used to rejection. And I
Hmm.
think, one thing I would love to leave to everyone, just because someone doesn't get your idea doesn't mean it's not a good one. So, you know, if someone says no, or if someone criticizes it or whatever, like just keep pushing forward, someone will get it. And then when they get it, just run with it. So I wouldn't spend too much time unless there's like, real productive feedback,
Hmm.
I wouldn't spend too much time trying to like always iterate for one investor, unless you constantly hear the same kind of like
Gotcha.
feedback. But yeah, I would say like just keep pushing forward. I think I think entrepreneurs are going to be the ones that change the world.
Gotcha.
So
Well,
yeah,
thanks a million, and we really appreciate having you
thank
on.
you
I know
guys.
the audience appreciate you as well, and we definitely want to stay connected. And
Definitely.
yeah, and I'll shoot you a link to get on the Lean Stack thing, so you can
Awesome.
actually you can do it. Okay?
I look forward to it. Thank you,
All right,
everyone.
you
Have a
take
good
care.
one.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Yes, so all right, everyone. We want to remind everybody to make sure you understand how to connect with us, and so we on the kukuainstitute.org. There's a link, a banner to say "Start Up on a Block," so you can just click that, and it has the all the links to kind of connect with what we're doing here. And also, when you in the email that we send out, it has a link to the opportunity database, and there's a page in there that also has the links to kind of get on board. And remember, the networking, is one of the key things for success. I want to encourage all the founders out there and the folks that are listening to go ahead and join the Blacks in Technology. I think the website is blacksintechnology.net. something like that. But you literally will be glad you did, because the program that we're doing with them, there's gonna be opportunities to get to pitch what you're doing and stuff like that, and money associated with that. So so we're all about helping you move forward. So we're gonna keep that ball rolling. And one last thing. So I wanted to make sure Quinn, and he's going down to the Synapse conference. Kukua Institute, we're going down there, but it's a great opportunity to like manning your booth for, like the tickets are like, to get a booth, it's like $250. The link is in the email, and you get 4 tickets, and they're going to have like over 7,000 people there this time. It was a little less last year, and Quinn, I know he stayed busy with his booth all last year. We definitely stayed busy, and everybody from investors to customers to partners, are coming through all day. So it's really a great opportunity to get out there so people can see what you're doing and understand what you're doing. If nobody knows what you're doing, it's going to be kind of hard to move forward. There's too many opportunities out there. So I could ramble forever, but I'm going to get off here. I really appreciate the participation and all the great questions, and we look forward to seeing you all next week. Take care. Bye-bye.